Hi friends, welcome to Teacher's Practice and welcome in today. This is a class called The Anatomy of a Twist. And it's practice that I really like as a way to dissect and understand, to give us a little bit more a functional understanding of the tools necessary for twisting practices, but at the same time, giving us some insight on how we can use that in different ways as practice comes to life. Now, I always like to start this practice by asking a very simple, straightforward question, which is, what defines a twist? Now, it's actually a really interesting question because when I ask this in classes or in workshops or in trainings, sometimes I get puzzled looks back because it's so obvious that it's not for some people. And you might say, okay, when the body moves one way, or when there's rotation, or there's an aspect of which the body is moving around the spine. And again, those things are not wrong by any means, but there is a little bit more detail that we can put in that maybe can give us a little bit more clarity on how we approach a twist. And so the way I look at defining a twist, or the way we look at the definition of a twist, is when the rib cage moves independently of the pelvis. So there's a rotational aspect to a twist, a lateral rotation. Then most specifically, it's understanding that the rib cage, the thoracic, the torso, is moving independently to the action of the pelvis. And of course, depending on the postures you're doing, whether you're standing or you're sitting, your pelvis could be counter-rotating, as in you can twist to the left and your pelvis will twist to the right to counterbalance that. Or you're going to have seated twist where your pelvis is locked in a position, as in like sitting on the floor, so it's going to be steady or set, and the rotation will move around that. And the reason it's important to understand that is when you start to recognize and figure out those mechanical movements, the anatomy of how the body, or the biomechanics of how the body move when you're twisting, it starts to unlock a better understanding of what we need to do both in preparation and in action when we're twisting in a pose. That's what we're going to look at today. Nat's here to help, and she's going to be our visual guidance. As we go through this practice, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk through the fundamentals of approach, or the methodology I'd like you to learn and onboard into your body, and use that as a way to be a helpful tool anytime you approach a twisting posture, practice, or class. Now, if you've practiced with me before, you know this 1, 2, 3 sequence for a twist. And it goes like this. Start with foundations. Make sure the body is set, whether it's strong connection in the feet, whether it's pelvic stability. We put ourselves in a position to be able to twist from something. Because without a foundation, without a steady base, your twist is just literally you spinning around in a circle. You have to have a stable point to twist from. So from a foundation, one, we then want extension. And this is the part of a twist that a lot of people forget or bypass or don't put enough focus into. The extension is how the spine elongates. So axial extension allows us this ability in which we can create space in a twist. Too often I see people doing revolved crescent lunge or revolved chair or twist, and everything is collapsing, and you're creating one-sided lumbar compression. You're allowing the body to fold and twist, when the idea of extension is you want to stand up, you want to lengthen, you want to create space for the third part, which is the rotation, the lateral rotation, or what I like to call it like a clean rotation, the ability in which we can move laterally in a rotation without any compression, or with minimal compression or minimal resistance around the spinal line. So if you take nothing else away from this class, or remember nothing else besides these 3 things, foundation, extension, and rotation, those are the 3 things I want you to bring into all aspects of this practice as you go through the details of it, and bring this on board either into your personal practice, into your teaching, or just the way that we can look at the physical practice with a little bit more insight and nuance. All right, so Nat's going to join me here on your back, please. Feet on the floor, knees up. And if you're joining me here in practice and you're going to be on the mat, please join the same. This is constructed rest position. And so naturally, as we land in constructed rest, regardless of the practice, it's a nice way to settle and put yourself into the floor and into your practice. Now, this whole idea of foundation is building that connection both to the ground and building the connection to your stability. So you can literally do that in this shape, feet pressing to the floor, feeling the pelvis land into the floor, and you can allow your breath to settle with that sense of attention. The idea of when we start to put ourselves into motion, regardless how fast or slow, when you put yourself into motion in an asana practice, you're moving yourself into effort. And effort, real effort, good effort, requires attention, it requires intention, and it requires connection. And having those three things in place allows us to really start to become a lot more aware of being purposeful in our actions. And so what I'd like you to do is just let your knees start to move side to side. But instead of just letting the knees go side to side, almost feel like your thighs are actually opening and closing or moving and shifting. And so the action is the feet are still connected, even though they're rolling side to side, just like Nat's doing here. But at the same time, your thigh bones are starting to transition right to left. And so you have this action of awareness. And even though these are very simple, gentle, passive twists, the part of it here is to give yourself a little bit of time to start to put this basic 1, 2, 3 sequence or method into place of foundation, extension, rotation. You might say, okay, how does that apply even here as we begin? So when you can think to yourself, well, what's the foundation of this pose? It's your feet connecting to the floor intentionally. It's the pelvis moving side to side purposefully. It's the back staying grounded, and it might be a use of your hands. Nat has hers on her belly. She would also put them on their sides. It's creating a foundation where you can create this action of rotation. And then you say, okay, well, where is the extension? Because it's not like the spine needs to get longer in a pose like this. But in a passive twist, in a lower half twist, the torso is actually the foundation. So the extension is coming from her thigh bones lengthening away. Hence why I'm asking you to move your thighs, not your knees. So as those thigh bones start to move left to right, they're also lengthening away. So there's space that's coming from it. And in many ways, it's almost lengthening or creating a little bit more space down in the lumbar. Not a huge amount because she's already pretty set and settled. And then the rotation is obvious, this clean rotation left to right as the body starts to move into play. And as you do that, as you set up these in a few motions and you keep going these few rounds, all you're really doing is giving yourself the space to kind of land in. So now as you come back up, knees up, and you're going to set up here, hands by your sides, palms facing down. And I just want you to start by simply on your next inhale, lift your hips up. Take a big breath in, hips rise up off the floor. Good. And then exhale, put them back down. So you have this and keep doing that with your breath so it has a nice fluid kind of rising and fall. Good. Next time you come down that, bring your feet a little bit further back in. And we want to kind of have this foundation where the feet feel like they're really structured underneath it. So inhale, everything comes up. And then exhale, it comes down. Okay. Now add your hands. So inhale, reach your hands over your head, hands towards the floor behind you. So now the hips and the hands are rising up. Good. And then they come back down in the exhale. And what you'll notice and what you'll see by this action is now we're starting to put a little bit of movement into the body and just starting to notice how this fits into our practice. Good. Good. Next time you stay down, stay down. Go ahead and bring both knees to your chest. As both knees come up to your chest, just give yourself a nice little squeeze in and then lift your head and your shoulders up for me. And as you stay here, just allow the body to kind of compress. And what we're doing is we're just putting a little effort into the shape. And then whether you do this as one action or two actions, I'd like you to point your toes all the way up to the ceiling, extend them, and then reach up towards your toes. Now that's strong, so you can do that in one action, but we want to feel this lifting and lengthening. This is a back-lying lengthener and it allows us to kind of wake up the body into the shape. Take a big breath in here. And then as you exhale, release down to the floor, keep your knees to your chest, roll yourself off to the right side, and then turn yourself over into tabletop. Good, so Nat's going to come up into tabletop shape, and she's going to start with her basic tabletop cat-cow actions. So you have very simple inhales and exhales, and you should know where you're at with these simple actions here. But as you do this, as we start to build this awareness of moving into these twisting shapes, it's connection to breath, it's intention of focus, and it's really now in this first phase of practice, strong foundations, strong hands, strong connection points, strong breath, because from a strong foundation builds the ability to create space. Good. Next time you come back to a steady tabletop, what I'd love for you to do is lengthen the spine, tuck your toes, lift your knees 2 centimeters. Now, floating tabletop shape, probably no one's favorite place to be, but it's a really good structural strengthener. Broad across the collarbones, broad across the back body. See how hips are over the knees. Bring your hips back just a little bit. Knees in line with your ankles. Good. Take a big breath in. Put your knees down as you exhale. Now, here's where we start to twist. Thread the needle. Reach your right hand to the sky. Chest peels open to your right wall or back wall. And then we're going to thread down and through 3 times without putting it down. Now, the trick here is Nat keeps going with this, and you keep going with this. I want a strong left hand. Strong left hand is going to build a base point of connection, and you want to really allow the twist to move through. Now, as you come up, pause here before you come down. And what you'll notice if you're looking at Nat here, or if you're noticing it in your own body, is that this space can feel a little bit compressed between the knee and the arm. So I want to walk this left hand forward about 4 or 5 centimeters. And that's going to open this space up, create extension in the back neckline. So this spinal line gets longer. Breathe in, and then exhale, roll it through. Now it might not go far through. Keep going one more time. Come on back up. Good. And then exhale, you'll thread it all the way through. And what I want to show you here, and let everything go down to the floor, is sometimes simply by changing your arm structure or arm stability, it can be a really helpful line to close or open a twist. Left hand's going to walk itself all the way forward and stay on the fingertips. See how straight away this line of extension gets longer. Left body gets longer. And I want you to feel, and I want Nat to feel, inhale, left line gets longer. Exhale, right rib cage rolls under. Even though the shoulder's stuck to the floor, not much is going to move. That feeling of it drawing under, as it creates a resistance against the left arm, can be a really helpful line of connection. Good. Now, walk this left hand back next to your nose. Stay on the fingertips, but in that forward position, press and unwrap. Inhale, right hand to the sky. Breathe in. Strong here. Tabletop position. Now, symmetry is necessary. Tuck your toes, lift your knees. So as many of you know, my favorite thing in the world, I don't know my favorite thing in the world, one of my favorite things in the world is to make sure you have symmetry before alternating sides. We can't just go right, left, right, left, right, left. It's good and helpful to put structure back into place. All right, knees down, let's do the second side. Nat's going to straight away move her right hand forward because she knows that space is helpful for her. You might do the same. And when you're ready, let's do 3 of those rounds. So inhale, left hand goes up, and then exhale, thread it through. Nat's going to keep going, you're going to keep going, but I want you to actually ask yourself, knee connection, tops of the feet connection, are you building that base, creating that extension before that rotation comes through? After the third one, you just put yourself down and do the same thing and just walk that right hand forward. Now this line, and actually Nat's going to keep going here, and you can do it here. If I was here and assisting Nat, I'd just say grab my wrist, and I'd give her a little bit of length here. Now she has to resist and the hips have to go back, otherwise she's going to smush her ear and her face into the floor. But essentially we're creating a long extension line. Good, walk this hand back, your right hand goes back. On the fingertips, push the floor away, unwrap your needle, breathe in. Then come back to tabletop shape. Tuck your toes, lift your knees, breathe in. Downward facing dog. Good, so first downward facing dog. Take it for a walk. Allow yourself to notice where you're at. Bend your knees, lift your heels. And the way I tend to like to start a twisting practice, even before we get into anything bigger or more strenuous, is little, kind of what I call like skiing moguls, like little skiers at the back. And if you've done this before with me, you'll kind of have this feeling of twisting to the right, twisting to the left, twisting down the middle, knees open. So Nat will show us here. Lift your heels high, take a big breath in. And as you exhale, both knees move to the right side of your mat. Your heels will turn, and you'll push your hips back towards your heels, just like that. Good. Inhale, come on back up. Second side, go to the left. And you almost feel like your heels are switching side to sides. You'll inhale, come back up. And this time, it's almost like a floating child's pose. Split your knees. Exhale, hips go back, knees go wide like a floating child's pose. There you go. Good. Let's do that again. So that's the sequence. Keep doing that about 2 or 3 times while I talk about this. And this is just starting to put this understanding of foundation, extension, and rotation into the body. The foundation here is where? It's the hands. The hands have to be strong in the foundation. And that's going to create this extension line up the body, this extension line up the spine. And that allows this rotation that's moving from the hips to really get locked into place, and not locked into place, but have the space to move purposefully. Good. If you're with Nat here, you'll have to split the middle and you'll then finish the round, and then you'll stay in downward facing dog. Wonderful. Take a big breath in, a long breath out, and then walk your hands back towards your feet and end up somewhere about 1/3 of the way up the mat. So not walk up a little bit so you're more in the middle of the mat. Good. And a nice forward fold. Yeah, just walk up a little bit for me. So as you take this forward fold, somewhere near the back of the mat, all you're doing is now just allowing yourself to reset the foundation line. So build yourself from the bottom up, connect your feet to the floor, soften the knees, and unroll yourself to standing. Now, if you can come to the middle and face forward just so we can see you. But wherever you are at home, you just stay where you are as you stand up. You're going to come to Tadasana. You're very kind of first Tadasana, resting, simple, steady. And throughout the practice, whether we're near the floor or standing, a twist is built on those foundations. Whether you're in stuff on the floor where we started, or seated poses, or anything simple, twisting, or you're standing, the rules still apply. This method still approach works. So I just want to do a very simple spinal twist. So just allow the right and left arms just to start to swing. And the heels can lift on the opposite side as you go as well. But what you're doing here, by simply doing a very simple swinging action, nice and slow and simple, you still need to build a foundation, because if you don't build a foundation, as in your feet aren't still plugged into the floor, even if the heel's lifting, then what you're going to find is that it's starting to pull the knee. It's going to pull the momentum. So just slow it down a little bit so you can just see that. But I'm going to ask you, and I know Nat's doing, is are you still extending? So are you still lengthening through the crown of your head? Are you still lifting up? But as you do that, you'll start to notice how the swinging line becomes a little bit more fluid. Good. Now don't stop completely, but take the gas out of it. So it's almost like it's just going to slow itself down back to standing. Don't rush. It'll probably take 3 or 4 swings. And when you come back and you get to that standing place where everything is just slowly getting into place, just close your eyes and stand for a moment. What you start to notice in a practice like this is it doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't need to be highly intricate. It's just about, can you take simple principles, foundation, extension, rotation, and put that into a practice that opens up. Twisting practice is about creating space, about giving you perspective. It's about opening the body into what's possible and releasing, relieving, unwinding. It's not collapsing. It's not compressing. It's where is there space that we can create and space that we can discover. All right, take one last full breath in here. Long breath out. Good. Wherever you are on your mat, inhale, sweep your hands to the sky. Take a full breath in. And then bow forward as you exhale. You can turn forward now. And then walk yourself out to plank pose. As you walk yourself out to plank pose, take a big breath in. And then drop your knees down, lower yourself all the way to the floor, chaturanga. Take a simple cobra pose. Everything stays on the floor, but the front body, breathe in, a little back bend through upper spine. And then put your forehead back on the floor as you exhale. Good, do that a few times, breathing in. And then breathing out. Good. One more time, inhale. Good. Push back to your knees. Tabletop, downward facing dog. Wonderful. As we rise back into a downward facing dog, I want to start to put a more detailed twist into the body. This is a twist I really love. It's a twist inspired by Katonah yoga, a style of how the body has lots of different angles. And I really like this twist. I use it a lot in my personal practice. And the way it's going to look is this, is you're going to walk your feet up the mat about 4 or 5 centimeters. So it's a shorter downward facing dog. And then you're going to lift your heels nice and high. And your right arm is going to come across the body and almost cup the bottom of your heel. If you can reach it, great. If you can't reach it, you can use calf or knee, but Nat seems to be here, so we're all good. And then with that heel, if possible, move that left heel towards the floor. Now, it might not touch, it doesn't need to touch, but it needs to create a traction. So you can't obviously see this based on where you are or feel that, but Nat's arm is working hard now. So it's locked into place. Now from here, the next part, that's the foundation line. The other foundation is left hand, strong left hand. Crown of the head, I want you to reach the crown of your head almost towards your thumb so it starts to get longer. See how that's getting longer, your spine feels longer. And then the rotation comes in two parts. Turn your cheek towards your bicep, and then turn your right rib cage towards the left wall. So it's almost like your whole upper torso is moving around. And what you'll notice is that it allows the heel to be moving backwards to create the excess. It's gathering the excess and lengthening it. So it's a hard working pose with the foundation, the extension, rotation. Take a big breath in and then release the pose. Good job. Float through plank position. It's nice to kind of wash out that movement. Take a chaturanga of your choice. So that's a cobra or an up dog for ease. But what's nice about this is we're really just putting ourselves into practice and to use these principles in play. And if you haven't caught on already, I'm literally going to say the same thing over and over through this whole class. Foundation, extension, rotation, foundation, extension, rotation. All right, second side. Now you can do it with me or on your own, but if you want to feel it out as you go, walk your toes forward, lift your heels. Go ahead and cup that back heel. We talk about it as like a ball in a mitt, which I understand kind of only applies if you're American because the reference is a baseball reference. But the idea is that your heel is like a ball and your hand is like a glove, and it sits into the palm of your hand like a glove. So when you press into it, it creates a restriction line. Right hand is pressing and working hard because this is a foundation that's necessary. Long line, crown lengthening, spine lengthening, turns the cheek, and then the left rib cage draws through, which creates more distance in the arms, which often means the heel needs to press a little bit more. Good, take a big breath in and release. Inhale, plank pose. Take a chaturanga of your choice. Now, I do apologize because I did promise Nat we weren't going to work hard, but it seems like we are, of course, and you are too, so well done. Keep going. You got this. All right, so as we're back here in a downward facing dog, I just want you to lift your right leg to the sky. That leg goes high, and we'll start very simply by stepping to the top of the mat, low lunge, left knee down, left toes stay tucked. Good. As your hands go all the way up, we're going to start to settle into a lunge. Standard lunge, hips further past the knees, toes tucked for the sake of where we need to be in just a moment. Now, what I'd like you to do is almost this idea of throwing a ball over your head. I want you to reach your arms so far forward that the body starts to lengthen. Good, knee stays on the floor. Now, what we're going to look at here is I want rib points down, rounding of the upper spine, and then press the ball of the back left foot in and lift your knee just a centimeter or two off mat. See how it's still bent? See how it's still hovering? See how everything's still working hard? Pause. Now rise to full crescent. Because you're reaching forward, I'm okay with the back leg long. Because you're reaching forward, I'm okay with the back leg long. Decompression of lower spine. Does that make sense? Now all I want you to do from this shape is your left hand goes to the fingertips like an easy twist. Not yet. Now, straight away you notice, and Nat does this, and a lot of you will do this, your default is to put your hand under your shoulder. This is where you are now, not where you're going to end up. Fingers walk forward 2 centimeters. Good. Crown of the head lengthens. Breath in. Easy twist. Just open it up to the side. Now, as you can see, as you start to do that, the shoulder is still behind the heel of the hand, but it almost encourages length because that's the stable point. Back left heel still needs to be active, so it's pressing back like there's a wall there. And in many ways, it's the hardest easy twist you're going to do. Strong foundations, the extension line. See how this long extension line is here? Going to take a big breath in. Right hand to the floor to the fingertips, step straight back to downward facing dog. You guys are doing a good job. Good, now part of this as well is you need to rest where you need to rest. But at the same time, you want to give yourself that space to really move through the motions and focus on the actions. Left leg to the sky, please. Breathe in. Step through to that low lunge shape. Same idea, knees down, toes are tucked, hands come all the way up. As the hands come up, set your feet, set your spine, set your fingers. Now, as always, lunge position shouldn't be a revelation if this is a practice for you that's not new. Most of you are teachers, dedicated practitioners. You know that a lunge sits with effort. Heel is down, big toe is down. Lengthen your lunge. So lean everything forward. As you lean forward, what you're going to notice again is that there's going to be compression that starts to build up here in this left hip space. So in your own mind and in your own body, draw the left femur down, draw the left femur back. Good. Lift your right knee 2 centimeters. And this is a hard pose. Everyone's body is going to shake. Not shaking, I would shake because it's effort here. But what we're doing here is we're putting the foundation into place. We're like setting the cement and letting it dry. Good. Lift to full lunge. At the same time, left thigh goes down, 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 down. Good. Take a big breath in. Right fingertips go down for easy twist. She's going to set up further ahead because she knows where we're going, and then peel it open. And what you'll start to see, and that has a really nice line here, the shoulder is slightly behind the wrist, which means she's lengthening out of it. But I do want that left hip to go down and in. Yes. Now at the same time, I'll point it out here on that, and it will be helpful for those of you at home. Back heel still needs to lift, and then from this position, push back. Good. And what that does, it encourages a backwards effort and a point to lengthen from. Now, as a variation, just because Nat's here and hopefully she's okay for another breath, she could almost use a block. By doing that block, what you'll notice, Nat can't see it, but you can see it here, is the spine gets more space. So both options work really well. Take a big breath in, downward facing dog. Well done. Big inhale. Long breath out. All right, go ahead and walk yourself to the top of the mat, please, everyone. As you walk yourself to the top of the mat, take a halfway lift and then bow forward. Good. Matt, can you come to the middle and just turn forward for me? Come up to chair pose, please. All right, let's talk about chair pose. Now, chair pose, it is what it is. Not the most fun place to be. Now, the structure of a chair pose will be as it traditionally is. Ground over the heels, thighs wrapping, long tailbone, ribs in, space. But when we start to talk about a twist, for me, it's super tempting to just twist into chair. So for those of you at home, you can stay in a chair, you can stand up and listen for a second, or you can sit down, up to you, but not come hands to chest and just hook your left elbow around your right knee. This is typically what most people do when we say revolved chair pose. Stay that closed position. This is usually where we start. And you start to see the rolling of the chest, the compression of it, and just the chasing of the hook. Good. Come on back up to chair pose and just stand up for a second. And the difference is as you do that, and actually, Nat, can you do the same thing facing this way for me? Hands up in the chair. And then come into a collapsed twist to the right. You'll start to see pause here, as a lot of people here will chase this elbow to knee connection, and then they'll either stay here or have limited range of motion where even if they start to open up a little bit, they end up about here. And what you end up seeing is the body just feels closed. And so come on back up. Everyone can do this with me now, please. Chair pose, face forward for me. So everyone's in chair pose. And rather than doing any sort of hands together or hooking of knees, I just want you to simply open to the right, arms forward. Yeah, just like that. And what you'll notice here is there's space, but at the same time, what we're looking for is foundation. Legs are doing the chair foundation. The extension of the spine maintains, and now the rotation becomes a little bit more lateral. Now, of course, the spine for most people are going like this. And so probably if I was to shuffle Nat just a little bit, her arms are going to be probably a little bit more like that, right? So come back through chair. Exhale, do the same thing, open to the right. Same right side, same right side. Just want to get that movement in. Good. Knees will bend, hips will sink. Good. Now people will ask, here's the very common thing. I'll talk to you while you're in chair pose. Hopefully you can stay with me. I'll talk pretty quickly. Should my knees come forward or back? My left knee forward, my right knee forward, knees together. For me, it's less about the knees and more about the hips. What we're looking for is if your hips were on a wall, your hips stay on the wall. Does that make sense? So your hips stay, right, in the same line or the same plane. We don't move them transverse, front to back. We move them up and down, which is coronal frontal. Good. Come back to chair pose. Twist left. Got 2 of these. You owe me 2 of these, and then we'll come out of it. Breathe in. Chair pose. Twist again to the left. Well done. Inhale, come up through the middle. Fold forward. Good. You can bend the knees, shake out the spine, wiggle the neck. Again, the whole point of this is, yes, we're practicing, but hopefully there's an element of learning that's helpful. And again, with everything, I'm just teaching you my perspective. I'm showing you what works for me, what I think is healthy for the body, what I think is valuable for your practice. You need to take what you need, leave what you don't, figure out how this can apply to your personal practice, and for those of you teaching, how it applies to that. All right, chair pose, come on up, please. Okay, breathe in, and then chair twist, take it to the right side. Good. Now from here, staying in this open chair twist, I want you to try this. Lift your heels, drop your seat halfway to the floor. It's a wobbly game of wobbles. Now, it's okay if you fall out. It's okay, we start again. Now, all I'd like you to do, bring your hands together, like, let's call it regular chair, and lower your heels, lower your hips, lift your heels. Good. And just rotate around. Good. Breathe. For today, that's going to be our chair twist. Beautiful. Take a big breath in. Heels down, bow forward. And why is this, I want to say better, but why is there value in this? Is because it's testing your foundation, heels up. It's creating extension, which you have to do in order to have a twist that's stable. So in many ways, all it's really doing, it's living the 3 principles that I've given you for twisting, the 3 necessary points for twisting in this approach. Let's try the second side. Inhale, chair pose, breathe in. Come to open chair twist first. Good, lift your heels. Drop the seat halfway. Again, your arms are there to help. Don't just leave them there for the sake of them being out. Reach them out, that can be helpful, or bring them back into your chest. Good. Now, when I say finish the twist, that doesn't mean twist more. It means allow the spine to lengthen and the rib cage to rotate independently of the pelvis. Take a big breath in. Heels down, bow forward. Wonderful. Good. Good. Now you can turn forward, take a halfway lift, step back, plank pose, downward facing dog. Talking about it, chaturanga, you probably don't want it anyway right now. You can if you want. At the same time, as you start to put more effort in your practice, more detail into the nuance or the techniques, you don't always necessarily want or need just an extra vinyasa thrown in there. Take a big breath in, please, and a long exhale. Good. Go ahead and put your knees down. Now you can face forward for this. And I just want to give you a little moment to just let everything just release. A lot of movement on the arms. And so rather than just swinging them out, do this with me. Inhale, reach your hands to the sky. And as you exhale, twist your right hand forward, left hand back. And just do that a few times, alternating sides. What this can do, which I think is really nice, is a lot of times the way I teach, or a lot of times my practices, they kind of go through kind of like rolling hills, or it's probably more like a roller coaster. There's moments of up and then moments of down. And so part of it is, rather than always just defaulting to child's pose or defaulting to rest, is use the moments of rest or restoration that still has value. And so for Nat and for you, this is a way to re-regulate the breath. It's to softly put a twist in the body. But at the same time, this goes back to that thing we said at the beginning, rib cage moving independently of the pelvis. This time the pelvis isn't really moving because it's on the heels on the floor, but it's still having those same principles. What I will say, I will ask you again is, are you doing extension in there? Right? Because it's super easy to get this like cadence a little bit off rhythm because your breath is 2-part. There's an inhale and an exhale. So you're often thinking, inhale, open, exhale, close, inhale, open, exhale, close. But with this approach today, there's still a foundation, extension, and rotation. So it's kind of 3 things to do. If you speak musical terms, there's a 2/3 situation going on in the rhythm of your breath versus your movements. And so we want to just make sure that we give ourselves space to always come back to it. The same way as we always need to remember to breathe, we also need to remember that we need extension in the twist. Okay. After your last round of this, just relax for a moment. Downward facing dog. Well done, everyone. So now as you move into standing and balancing twists or single leg twists, it's now about bringing those same principles in as the body starts to really need a little bit more effort and attention. Lift your right leg to the sky, and this time step straight to crescent lunge, but both knees are bent. So a double bent crescent lunge. Double bent means your back left knee is also bent, and pelvis is getting long, or hip points are lifted, and there's a long spine and a long line. That's really strong here, which means that she's able to hold this position for a little bit, not forever, nor do we need to be. But you know that thing we did with our open chair twist? I want you to do the exact same thing here. Take a big breath in, open twist to the right side, and then keep flowing that a few times. Do that about 2 or 3 more times. You'll see Nat's legs are working. They're shaking. They're connecting. She has to have a strong foundation, and she has to, every time that inhale comes in, is that extension is lengthening her up, because the rotation is going to create a wobbliness. Good. Now stay here in this spot when you find the twist. Pause here for a moment, and not for longer than just resetting it. Reset your foundations. Feet are strong, thighs drawing in, front thighs drawing down, spine is still long, crown of the head is still long. Rotation means the rib cages are moving. Good. Take one more full breath in. And as you exhale, bring your left hand to the floor, come back to the easy twist. Now straight away, again, Nat did the same thing that probably a lot of you did, and she's fixed it straight away. She went too shallow. And that's just because the default is you put your hand in to support what you need now, as opposed to, can I get the spine longer by walking it forward? That simple little movement of hand a few more inches or centimeters forward will naturally give that space in. Downward facing dog. Well done. Whew. Big breath in, long breath out. You guys are doing a great job. I know it's a lot, but hopefully it's a helpful a lot today. Lift your left leg to the sky. Same thing, second side. Inhale, your hands go up. Exhale, open your twist. Yeah. Breathing in, and then flow it 2 or 3 times, please. There it is. One more time, exhale and open. Stay for a moment. Feel that grounding, the extension and rotation, and then turn it into an easy twist. Bring that right hand down. She's going to go longer than the shoulder line. We're not here for long. That's the second side. You know where you're at. Feel that left thigh draw down and back and in. Wonderful. Back right foot is stuck to the floor. Crown of the head is lengthening. Take a big breath in, please. Downward facing dog. Big inhale in. Long exhale out. Miss, you okay there? We okay? Same thing, a little bit more fluid or a little bit more continuous, and that's how we build this twist. Here we go now. Inhale, right leg to the sky. Crescent lunge. Footsteps forward, hands reach straight up to the sky. Breathe in. Open your twist to the right side. Exhale. Good. Inhale, hands go up. Twist second time. Last one. Inhale, hands go up. Exhale, twist. Stay here. Come down to the floor. Easy twist. Inhale, breathe in. Downward facing dog. So now that we put it, let's call it in motion or in flow, let's see if those dots connect. But don't lose the extension just because there's movement or quicker movement. Left leg to the sky, breathing in, please. Crescent lunge. So you've got 3 times opening this twist with the breath. The third time we'll move into that easy twist. Focus on the feet. Focus on the thigh connection. Focus on a clean rotation. And remember, the crown of the head's reaching, reaching, reaching. And once you get to that third time of the open twist, when you're ready, on your exhale, it'll take you down. Reset the feet, reset the extension line, open that easy twist. Downward facing dog. Well done. Big breath in, long breath out. Right leg to the sky. Same but different. Moving on. Step back to crescent lunge. Now from crescent lunge, hands go up towards the sky, easy twist open to your right side. We're not going to wave through it. We're going to steady here for a moment. Now from this shape, moving on into the easy twist, bring your left hand back to the floor, right hand to the sky. And we're going to build from here. You're not going to go yet. Nat's going to stay here. You're going to stay here. And we're going to eventually move this into a revolved half moon. And what that means is that back left foot's going to lift up, not yet, and then we're going to float ourselves up. I'm going to be helpful for Nat. I can't help you in your room, but you can help yourself, is I'm going to put a block in place just in case. We might need it when we get there. But I'd like you to do it this way with me. If you do have a block, set it about 3 or 4 centimeters in front of you. Now, first things first, turn your eyes to the floor. Nothing else. Good. Now, bend your right knee so the weight shifts forward. Yes, so you're almost literally on the very tip of your back left foot. Left hand moves to the block. Good. Wonderful. So as you can see, Nat still has to keep her structure. I'm going to keep it slow here. It's going to be miserable, but it's going to be valuable. Keep walking that left hand even more forward. Pause. Bend your right knee even more. Pause. Come so far into the tip of your toes that you almost don't need them. Pause. Now, once you're structured and I want you to feel like your right leg can do a straight up standing work, pause before you lift. Before you lift, before you lift, before you lift. Yes, I want a long spine, and I still want that rotation to come nicely around that left rib cage. On your next inhale, stand up, keep the shape. Yes, good. Activate that back left foot as soon as it comes off the mat. You can take that brick higher if you want it. And what's nice about it, and that's making our own adjustments, same thing with the easy twist, block's a little bit shallow. Walk your block a little bit further. What that's going to do, it's going to force the spine to get longer and her to reach forward, but it means you also need to plug your right heel down and push that left heel back to stabilize. Yes, take a big breath in, forward fold, top of your mat. And it's a big movement because it's asking you to expand. In any of these postures, one leg standing postures, you have to expand even before you rotate. So if this was just a typical half moon, you still need that standing and expansion. We're just adding the rotation that's coming from it. Good. Roll yourself back up to standing. It can be quite nice to just put yourself back together for a second. You can swing the arms. You can give yourself a little shake. You just want to make sure you have that sensibility of going, okay, I get where we are. I know there's work to be done, and I'm putting these principles in practice. A big part of these classes with me aren't just your Tuesday lunchtime classes. These are practices that I'm asking you to look at detail. I'm asking you to look at nuance, and they're going to help your personal practice and help your teaching if that's you. All right, sweep your hands to the top of the mat. Breathe in. Meet me in downward facing dog, please. You can take a vinyasa if you wanted, or you just step back, halfway lift. And when you get to downward facing dog, you're in a position for the second side. Big breath in, long breath out. Right, left leg to the sky. You know the sequence of actions. Let's get there together. Step forward, crescent lunge. Hands float up to the sky as you breathe in. And then you open up to the twist. Good, so as you can see, Nat's got herself set up. And at the same time, what she is doing, which I'd like you to do, is you want to respect your twist line. So you just want to think, are my arms coming out of the collarbones in the way that respects the need for the twist? Front knee, left knee is bent, thigh draws down, spine sits tall, rib cage moves around. There. Double bend in the knees, pelvis is still lengthening. So put your structure in place. Easy twist line. Right hand comes down, and she's going to reach a little bit longer today. And if you feel like your footsteps are a bit too narrow, you can also widen a front foot or move a right foot out. You want to have that stable base. Good, so we'll take a big breath in, keep that left hip drawing down and back and in. There. Now, same setup. If you need a block, use a block. So we're going to move towards that standing, revolving half moon. So the block becomes aspirationally in place. Left knee bends, hand moves to block. Heel lifts, so you're literally almost on the toes. Good, now eyes turn down and forward, so you have that position in place, and then start to walk forward, 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 so much where your weight shifts that you can lift in the rise. Good. Take it slow, go all the way back, reset, find it. For me, when you rise into poses like this, I want you standing into the pose, not jumping or flying into the pose. And there's a big difference because what that does, it allows you to have that feeling of strength and extension. Strong left foot, active right heel, active spine rotation through the ribs. Good, take a big breath in, forward fold. This might not sound fun at all, but I promise there's value. Chair pose, please breathe in. This goes back to the idea of symmetrical engagement. I want you to put the pieces back together, especially after strong, standing, twisting, asymmetrical poses. Symmetrical, as in symmetry, symmetrical engagement, as in the body is doing the same thing on both sides, can be a nice way to kind of reset. Stand up. And then we'll release the hands and reset for a moment. Good job. You guys are doing a great job. I know it's a lot. You're getting through it. And part of this is building those foundations and putting the pieces in place. All right, take a big breath in. Don't move. Long breath out. Inhale, sweep your hands to the sky. Bow forward as you exhale. Take a halfway lift, please. Step back, plank pose. Downward facing dog. So now that we've done a few of those standing postures, I want to bring it back to the floor and then we'll link some bits together. So what I'd like you to do is very simply come to plank pose and bring the feet together. Now, as you bring the feet together, and have potentially done this pose with me thousands of times, it's a high plank from everything from the waist up, and it's side plank from everything from the waist down. So I'd like your heels to spin right, and everything from the belly button upward stays in plank. Good. Now it's here in high plank, side plank, as I call it, and you can do the same thing if you'd like. Good. Come back to the middle just so it's in your body. Go back to down dog so it's out of your body. On your next inhale, come on back up. Give it. Same sides. You're going to the right, heels to the right side. Now that we're there, we start to feel this action of a twist, right? So we're just building this action of effort. Now, I know this might not seem like a huge amount of fun, but it's starting to build that effort of engagement below us. Good. Come on back. Plank pose. Downward facing dog. You all right? This time, as you come back to plank pose, keep your feet separated. And as you spin your heels to the right, I want both feet on the floor. Yes, there we go. Now, from this shape, I'd like you to bring your right knee towards your left armpit. There, good. Now you're on the inside edge of that back left foot. The hands are still pressing, eyes are longer, so the collarbone is wide. And then this right foot, kick it straight out to the left side, pause. Now, Nat's got flexibility, and depending on the shape of your body, it might be somewhere between the back third, the middle. Ideally, we're moving to the middle or third of the mat. Now, if possible, walk this right hand forward 2 or 3 centimeters. I know it's a little bit of a jiggle, but it's going to help the shoulder line. Lift the bottom hip up, open into fallen triangle. Now, straight away, as you see Nat opens here and as your body opens up, it almost gives you your structure back. So toes are flexed, pressing and engaging. Good. Hand is strong. And see how we move the hand up? A lot more space here for Nat's arm line. That's the extension we're looking for. And we have a little bit of that rotation line coming through. Plank pose, downward facing dog. That was a long time there, so well done, everyone. Whew. If it helps, I'm having a good time. Good, take a big breath in. Long breath out. Okay, pop your knees down for a second and sit up. So part of this as well is just that understanding. I'll scoot a bit closer so you can hear me. So part of this understanding is even when we start to do these twists and you start to move with nuance and detail, I want you to think if I'm asking my body to twist, if I'm doing a posture that requires a twist, I want you to start from now on to say, where's the extension needed? Can I extend and create space? Can I do this in a way that allows us to really feel like we're putting space into the body as opposed to just giving ourselves a point of twist? Because a twist is often like the treat, or it's the thing we're looking for, the win or the posture. but it's always the preparation that's going to help the success. It's all the work you do to get there before you do the thing. Right? It's like the Olympians who like run a 100-meter dash. They spend 4 years in preparation for 10 years of action. And while it's not exactly the same, we understand that point in saying, look at the things we are doing in preparation, in detail, shifting the hands, shifting the hand forward so the shoulder has more support, creating extension in the spine, resetting the feet. So the moment when we actually rotate, when we twist, the big moment under the spotlights, that has all the tools and all the most amount of preparation that's helpful for that moment of success. Does that sound okay? All right, second side, now that you've had a breather, downward facing dog. Come through to a plank pose, please. From the plank pose, we start with feet together, so we're going to do 2 twists here. Take a big breath in. Heels go to the left, so you've got that first twist. Feet are stacked, feet are pressing. Lift the bottom left hip up, and the twist is coming through the baseline. Good. Heels up, down dog. You might notice, and you can play with this on this one, is it might be helpful to walk the hands a little bit further forward. And that's going to try it. Bring your hands forward about 2 or 3 centimeters, and come through plank. Breathe in, and then spin the heels. Good. Move your whole body back 2 centimeters. Good. So you're a little behind the heels of your hands. And just see the difference and see if there's any value either or. But this twist in place gives us this moment of support. Okay, come back through the middle, downward facing dog. Okay, come on up again, but this time the feet stay split. And then you're going to turn to the left. Good, strong twist in the top half of the body now. And then when you're ready, we're going to pick the left leg is going to go to the right side of the body. Knee towards the elbow, and then you're going to kick it out to your left side, or your right side, sorry. And when that's set in place, both toes are flexed, feet are pressing, the hands should already be in place because we had them forward. We're going to open into that fallen triangle. Good. Now as you open to this fallen triangle, shoulder stacks over wrist, hips lifted and engaged, toes are flexed, breath is moving, because now the effort of extension is creating that space. Take a big breath in, please. Downward facing dog, or plank downward facing dog. Big breath in, long breath out. Well done. As we move through a practice like this, it's going to require little aspects of details that we focus on and notice. When you're ready, lift your right leg to the sky, step forward, warrior 2. Good. As you come to warrior 2, I just want you to set up. Sorry, I'm laughing. This is my fault. I'm laughing because, again, I was chuckling because I was like, oh, this is not going to be a hard class. It's going to be strong. And I was like, oh, nah, you can wear a sweatshirt. We'll be fine. And again, it's warm. And I apologize. We're here. We're moving through it. We got this, team. And again, the whole point of this practice is I really love going through the detail and the value that we can find in the nuance of postures and these sequences. Sometimes I get carried away about how strong it can be. So you're doing a great job. I'm with you in spirit. So is warrior 2 a twist? It is a twist. And it is a twist because remember, the rib cage is moving independently of the pelvis. Your pelvis is set facing the left side or in the angle of left, and the rib cage still needs to return to neutral. Right? So we have an element of a twist, and not a big twist, but a twist going on here. Flip your front palm, reverse the warrior for me. Take a big breath in. And then come to side angle. Extended side angle, right elbow, left knee. Now from this shape of extended side angle, we have a strong foundational build. And this is just so we have long lengthening line. Now this itself is not a twist, but it's a great extension pose. It's a great offering of extension of lengthening of the spine. And one of the nicest ways that you can feel that is I'd like the right hand to extend like it was going to half moon, but don't touch the floor. And then lengthen from there up like a circle. So both hands reach over your head, long diagonal, extended side angle lunge. Good. Now from this shape, the right rib cage is lengthening. Take a big breath in, if not already. Change nothing else, but straighten your front right leg like triangle pose. Good. Now, what happens in this shape is you have this element of the thigh bone lifting up and away and the spine lengthening from it. Good. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, slightly lift your left heel. Bring your hands down like a pyramid pose. Good. You can hop a foot back up if you need a little shortening of the stance. So hop your left foot up a little bit up the mat. Put these under your hands so you have a bit of height. And just take a few halfway lifts and folds. It's a moment here to catch your breath, at the same time create the space. And one of the things I really like all of you to do is to make sure your feet are still hip width distance apart. So if they feel like they're walking a tightrope, take your left foot and widen it even more. The reason I want it wider, because I also want you to turn this left hip forward. So while your pelvis is now drawing up the mat, it allows you to have the width to do that. If you're too narrow on a walkway or on a tightrope, you won't be able to do that, or it won't feel nice in the body. Next time you come to a halfway lift, stay. And we're building on all the stuff we've already done. So we're not going to need the right block, but the left block is probably going to walk itself forward. Sorry, I just find this really funny for some reason now that we're in this place in the practice. But I'll act serious. We'll try. I'll pretend to be serious as long as you stay focused in this practice. We got this. Nat's arm has got longer than the shoulder, so we're here in a great place. Now, what needs to happen is we have to remember that the thighs need to draw back, but the pelvis needs to stay neutral, even though it's asymmetrical. Could turn this over into a revolved pyramid pose, please. Good. So what we're doing and what we're seeing is a little bit of collapse here because of the brick height. So turn this brick into the higher setting. Yes. And then what you start to notice here is strong active right thigh going back, strong active left thigh going back. Press into my fist. Good. Pelvis is now aligned. So if I was to hear an assist, I'm just going to draw Nat's hips back towards me. Now draw your head away towards the windows. Good. Now, as you create that shape here of steadiness, what we want to do is the anchor line is the pelvis and the back legs. The crown of the head is reaching, and the rotation falls here from the left rib cage, draws under. And what you start to see is space. Good. Take a big breath in. Release that right hand down, soften the right knee, step back, downward facing dog. Really nice shape, really nice space, really nice twist. Well done, everyone. Big breath in, long breath out. All right, second side. Warrior 2 coming up on the left side. Step your left foot forward. Come on up. Now, same idea, always set your pose, and I'd probably even say is start with a wider stance than you might normally. So you widen your stance, bring your left foot a little bit further left, or your right foot a little further right. Take a big breath in, extended side angle. Or actually, we'll go reverse warrior for space. Breathe in. Extended side angle. I don't know why I'm laughing so much, but it's all part of the fun. So this pose, the reason I'm using a pose like this in a twisting class is its foundation is built on extension. So foundation here, back leg, left arm comes long arrowhead across. So left hand reaches like it's a half moon towards the floor, and then you keep going up, 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 up. There, take a big breath in, straighten your leg, exhale, triangle variation. Beautiful. And just that transitional movement, that straighten the leg from extension, really shows you the effort and necessary need for foundation lines. Big breath in, pyramid pose. Turn that hand to the floor, reset your blocks, reset your back foot, and just take a few flowing inhales and folds on here, your pyramid pose. If you need to, if it's feeling like a lot in the body, you can soften your left knee. Just so we can kind of clean up a few lines here. Let's take your right leg just a little bit wider. If you find your legs feel like they're crossing over at any point, just widen them. It's totally fine to be nice and wide here in the pose. Okay, let's set up for the twist. First things first, when we set up for the twist, what do you want to do? Walk the right block forward. Create space because you know you're going to fill that twist. Strong legs, thighs draw back, hips draw back, so that's your anchor, your foundation. And then you're going to halfway lift into extension. And then you're going to create the rotation. Good. Actually, let me show you a nice variation. You can stay or you can look again. Bring your left hand back down now. Put your left hand on your rib cage. We've done this before in different workshops and classes. And the idea of when you rotate, you're literally going to roll your ribs open. So reset your foundation, reset your extension, breathe in. Good, exhale. And then peel yourself open on that inhale. Good, and when you're ready, you can extend the arm. And you have that space. Now remember, the pose falls apart if the foundation falls apart. The pose falls apart if the extension is lost. And so the twist only matters or only happens when the first two things are in place. And once you're here for one more breath, softly release, downward facing dog. Big breath in, long breath out. Good, drop your knees down, pause. Take a rest for yourself. How are we doing? Is this making sense? You enjoying this? That's okay. Part of this is putting principles in practice, making your practice come to life in a way where we're looking at helpful techniques. Because it's so easy to go through the motion. It's very easy just to do a practice of postures. When we start to look at the next layer of putting postures into play with the detail and the necessary helpfulness, it's going to really give you an opportunity to unlock more space in your practice, unlock more freedom in your practice. But to get there, the pathway there is often refined effort. All right, we're almost there. You guys are doing a great job. All right, let's do this. Let's come into tabletop. And just do a few thread the needles here and just put yourself back into kind of a little bit of more of a supported twisting action. Don't go down and put it down. Just do a few open and close, just like Hinat's doing here. And so you guys are working hard in this action. And so after you've done 2 or 3, put your right hand down, roll the shoulders a little bit. And again, a big part of the way I teach is returning back to things we've already done, returning back in full circle. It gives us that kind of understanding of coming back from where we've started, going our journey on a full circle. And so as we revisit where we've been or we come back to the familiar, it's giving ourselves the space not to just have to do everything, but to climb these little mountains, to go on these little journeys, and to bring the information, the effort, the experience back home. It's a nice way to put it, I suppose. All right, everyone. Go ahead and cross your ankles behind you and sit on your bum or on your lap. And that you can do it facing forward. And I want to talk to you about go ahead and sit on that in the middle of your mat. I want to talk about a seated twist. And oftentimes when you do seated twists, where they're different than standing twists or lunging twists, like I said at the beginning of the practice, it's the pelvis is set, or it's stuck to the block or stuck to the floor. So it means the counteraction doesn't exist. It's just set and rotation. So all that really means is you have to start from a position that's helpful for your twist. So when you generally sit cross-legged on the floor, one of the best indicators is making sure your hips are higher than your knees. So if you just move your hands for a second, see how Nat's hips are higher than her knees. If she was sitting like this person, she was up here, I would just keep adding more blocks until the height of the hips is above the knees. Now that goes back to her natural position, which means that her hips are same or higher than her knees, which essentially means her pelvis is level, which is what we're looking for. Neutral pelvis, level pelvis, and that's helpful. And so as we turn this shape of the legs into a version of Ardha Matsyendrasana, turn it into a seated twist, Ardha Matsyendrasana, is I'd like you to take your left leg in and your right leg over. Now, the slight difference which can be helpful, if it feels a bit clunky for your block to be in this position, you can turn your block into this position. Either variation works, just depending on kind of where your legs in rotation are. So I'd like the left foot flat to the floor, knee is lifted, outside of your right foot isn't sitting on it, can be almost touching or tucked onto the block behind you. So that's the foundation. The pelvis is set, which means now when we twist from it, our only options are extension and rotation. So the way I like to enter this is both hands go up, breathe in, and then first, right hand circles back behind you. Good, and that's gonna naturally give you your first point of a twist. Then I'm gonna say re-extend, and as you exhale, hook your left elbow on the outside of your right knee. Good. And what you might find, depending on the height of where you sit and where you are, you might, for example, this might feel really far away and you might want to put a block under the back hand, or you can do another option, which is simply just extending this hand straight. Or if that doesn't reach for you, the other variation, which Nat can do here, is you just cup the front of your knee just like that. All of those things work as long as there is extension. So breathe in, extend, and then exhale, you twist. And then as you exhale, just gently release, come back through the middle. You can reach your legs long, you just shake them out, just give them a reset, and then set up for the second side. We're not going to do many of these. I just want you to notice and feel that difference. When you set up, your hips are set, so your point of position of starting is where your twist will be anchored from. When you're ready, your hands will go up, and then you'll exhale, twist. And as you'll see with Nat does, she's not all the way around. She's at a diagonal, so that inhale is going to lengthen the spine. And then as you exhale, the hand will twist, whatever position works in your body, whatever works for you. And what I'm looking for is space. Space in the spine. I'm not looking for a collapsed spine. I'm looking for a natural, open, clean twist. Take a big breath in and a long breath out. Good. Well done, everyone. Release the twist. Now you could turn your back down your mat. Everyone, I'd like you to take your block out if you're sitting on one and just lean back onto your elbows and just let your legs go straight for a second. Let's just move that block out of the way from me, if you wouldn't mind. Move that block to the back. And then as you lie back here, just let your toes go left to right. Just allow yourself to have a little bit of release. And then when you're ready, just lie down on the floor, bring your knees to your chest. So as you have this shape in the body, we're now really moving into full restoration. We're not at Shavasana yet. We're gonna reset and do a last few twists. But again, you're on the floor, so these twists are a little bit more set into the earth. Yeah. Go ahead and keep your right knee at your chest. Extend your left leg. Now, before you do any sort of supine twist, you need to shuffle your hips to the right so you can give yourself a little bit of a neutral twist in the rotation. And when you're ready, you can take your knee off to the left side and let your arm open up. Now, for me, it doesn't make it a huge difference if your knee touches the floor or not. If you want a little bit more restoration or a little bit more support, what you can also do is, if you need to, and again, depending on your body, I'll show you where it goes anyways, I can just put a block under here. I can do a similar job. You can do a bolster or a blanket. But this kind of twist, all it's really doing is allowing you to kind of return back to the center, return back to your stable point. And what's nice about it is there's still the three elements in play. You've got your foundation, right? And for some people, that foundation is going to be the shoulder down. Others, it's just going to be the feeling of the connection on the back body, or even the left hip and leg. And the extension is just that expansion, so that lengthening feeling, that opening feeling, and then a rotation. And it can be really nice as a way to kind of complete your practice, just to take a little moment here. Take a big breath in and a breath out. And then you come back and do the other side when you're ready. Shuffle the hips back in, bring both knees in, exchange the legs. Now you can take that brick with you as well. And if you need to take your brick with you, you're welcome to. And you take your twist the other way. Big breath in. Long breath out. when a practice like this comes full circle from our place of starting, through the effort, through our technique, through the twists, through the bigger twists, through the standing twists, through the revolving twists in pyramid pose, it's all just a matter of the same principles in play through different lenses of postures. Take a big breath in here, a long breath out. And as you bring your knees back up to center, come back to constructed rest pose, knees bent, feet on the floor. And then just allow your knees to go side to side one more time, literally just like we started. And just putting the pattern back in the body once or twice, 3 times. It's kind of like allowing the mind to return back to its start. It's coming back home, coming back into stillness. And then bring your knees to the center and pause. And just slide yourself out. Now's a good time for rest, for Shavasana, to close your practice. And as you take these few moments here, and you allow yourself to be at rest, but being that it's a teacher's practice as well, you allow yourself to perhaps put the pieces back together. From the get-go, this idea of foundation, extension, rotation was all about creating space, the integrity of your twist, the extension that we can find, the perception that we can have. In yoga philosophy, we can equate that to this idea of perception or perspective. Oftentimes I'll connect this to a practice with Vishnu, deity Vishnu, of preservation. Vishnu's quality is of that which preserves, that which maintains, that which allows us to continue. And in many ways, when we think about this practice, it does that. When we think about a twist practice, when we're looking from side to side, when we're seeing more, it's actually allowing us to switch into our parasympathetic response. And while there's effort and there's excitement and there's things to do and the legs are shaking in practice, it allows us to still feel, quote unquote, safe enough to practice, safe enough to move, that ability to see what's around us, to take in the sights. That's only happens when you feel like the body can respond purposefully. Because remember, when we're in this fight or flight, when we're working hard or doing this thing all, and we're feeling like we're at our edge or at our end, we don't have time to look around and smell the roses, to take in the view. That's really what it is when we twist. We're allowing ourselves to shift into a response state that means we can engage, we can rest, we can restore, we can be in our surroundings. We can be in the periphery, in the perspective. That's one of the valuable things that can come from a practice like this once you start to put these principles into play. And that's really the value, hopefully, of a practice like this when we look at the anatomy of a twist, the specifics of a twist that can help us create all of this spaciousness in a practice. Now, of course, you're welcome to stay longer if you're in your own space or a space where there's time for you to rest. If you're here and you're ready to close practice with me, go ahead and take a full breath in and a long breath out. And go ahead and wiggle the fingers and the toes. Reach and open yourself back up. Draw your knees into your chest. And then just curl yourself up and into your final seat. As you come into your final seat, your hands can come to rest on your knees, your laps, or the center of your heart space, whatever suits you and supports you. Practices like this are set in a way to hopefully give you more than just the obvious, to give you some nuance, some detail, some insight, and hopefully some inspiration into how we can take the practice deeper, create some levels of insight, and give you a way to both deepen your practice and further your teachings. Thank you so much for practicing with me. It's lovely to have you here. Thank you to Nat for working hard with us, and thank you to you for working hard for you. Take a big breath in to close. Long breath out. And if you'd like, together we say, Namaste. Thanks so much for practice. We'll see you next time.